Let's be honest, the internet is drowning in content. Reels, ads, stories, tweets. Billions every day. So why do some brands get remembered while others disappear the moment you scroll past? The difference is simple. Content informs, but stories transform. And today I'm going to show you exactly why content isn't enough anymore and how you can start turning your posts into stories that sell. Here's a real example. Look at this. Handmade scarf, 100% wool available now. That's content. It tells me what it is, but it doesn't make me feel anything. Here's another. Last winter, a mother in Srinagar sat by her window for 17 days, embroidering the scarf while her daughter studied beside her. Every stitch, she told me, felt like weaving their survival. That's what you're wearing when you buy from us. Now this is a story. Same product, but now suddenly it's alive. You are not just buying a scarf, you are carrying her story. Which one do you think people will remember? That is why I say content forgettable, story memorable. And this isn't just fluff. Science backs it. According to the Storytelling Edge, when we hear stories, our brain releases oxytocin, the trust hormone. So that is why when you hear someone's personal struggle, you feel more connected. Also, the fact is that people remember stories 22 times more than facts. That's huge. So here's the mindset shift. Stop thinking of yourself as a seller of product. Start thinking of yourself as a storyteller of meaning. For example, Apple doesn't sell processors. They sell stories of dreamers and rebels. Paperboat doesn't sell juice. They sell the stories of your childhood summers. At Isban, the moment I stopped posting buy this Heron and instead started telling stories of Kashmiri artisans, our engagement tripled. People were not connecting to the cloth. They were connecting to the human behind it. Okay. Let's make this practical. So here's a boring caption. Cotton tote bag, spacious, available in 3 colors. Now, let's rewrite it as a story using one line of context. When we designed this tote, we tested it with 7 college students who told us that they were sick of bags that collapse under the weight of books. This is the bag that survived. See the difference? Same product. One is and the other makes you imagine real people, real struggle, real win. So here's your quick exercise. Pick one of your last 3 product posts, rewrite it as a story. Add a moment, a person, and a transformation. Post it, see how your audience reacts. Because content gets scrolled past, but stories get remembered, shared, and bought. Here's a thought. People don't actually buy products. They buy what those products mean. And if you're stuck in the mindset of being a seller, you'll always be shouting, buy now, buy now. But when you become a storyteller, people lean in. They want to hear more from you. Think about it. Sellers talk features. 100% wool, ships in 2 days, now in new colors. Sure, it's information, but does it make anyone care? Not really. Now, let's compare this with a story. This jacket was stitched during Kashmir's first snowfall. The artisan told me I had to keep my hands warm over the fire every 20 minutes or I couldn't feel the needle. Same jacket. One is a feature, the other is a feeling. Look at the brands you admire. They're not sellers, they're all storytellers. For example, Paperboat doesn't say mango drink, 30 rupees. They say a sip of your childhood summers. Apple doesn't say 12-core processor. They say think different. And Nike doesn't say new shoes. They say just do it. And people are willing to pay 10 times more because they're not buying specifications, they're buying stories. And when I started this month, I used to post things like hand embroidered heron, buy now. It did not move people. The moment I started saying this heron was hand embroidered by Noor, a young mother who works late into the night after putting her daughter to sleep, that's when comments started flooding in. This reminds me of my grandmother. This made me so emotional. It wasn't about selling anymore. It was about sharing meaning. And here's the truth. The moment you stop being a seller and step into being a storyteller, your brand does not have to chase customers. You attract your customers. Now here's a quick exercise. Grab a pen and write this sentence. I sell product. Now cross it out. Rewrite it as I tell stories about whatever that is. For example, instead of saying I sell skincare, you can say I sell stories about women reclaiming confidence. Instead of saying I sell coffee, you could say I tell stories about mornings that fuel ambition. And instead of I sell parents, I tell stories about Kashmiri women preserving a 600-year-old craft. See how much more powerful that feels? That is the mindset shift. So here's your takeaway. Stop introducing yourself as a seller and start introducing yourself as a storyteller. Because people don't remember sellers, but they will definitely remember a story that made them feel something. Here's the truth nobody tells you. People don't buy into your product first. They buy into you. Your beliefs, your journey, your why. And that is why every founder needs a founder story. Not a LinkedIn bio, not a pitch deck intro. A story that makes people say, yes, I trust this person. I want to be a part of their journey. Let me show you. Mama Earth did not start with safe baby shampoo. Their founder story was, we couldn't find toxin-free products for our own baby, so we made them. Every parent relates instantly. Airbnb wasn't born as a travel giant. It was two broke designers in San Francisco renting out air mattresses in their apartment. That scrappy start makes you root for them. See the pattern? The product came later. The founder's why came first. So how do you build your founder story? Use this simple 3-step framework. Intent, obstacle, resolution. Intent. Why did you start? What problem were you obsessed with? Obstacle. What challenges stood in the way? And finally, resolution. What did you do, sacrifice, or create to solve it? That's it. Doesn't need to be dramatic, just real. Let me give you my own example. At 19, I looked around Kashmir and thought, we have world-class craft. Why is there no world-class brand? This thought obsessed me. But I had no background, no funding. I was a young woman in a space that was primarily dominated by men. I even shut down my first business before this one. So I spent months meeting artisans, hearing their stories, and finally started Isband. Not as a shop, but as a storytelling platform where every piece carried the story of its maker. That's my founder story. And when people hear it, they don't just see a brand, they see a journey they want to support. So let's take a boring founder intro. Hi, I'm Sana. I run a startup that sells organic coffee. Now, let's use the intent obstacle resolution framework. When I moved to Bangalore, I missed the taste of the coffee my grandmother roasted in Coorg. Every cafe felt too commercial. The problem? Nobody was selling coffee that tasted like home. So I started small, roasting beans in my kitchen. Today, that little experiment is what you're drinking. See the difference? One is forgettable. The other makes you feel like you are sipping her childhood memory. So here's your exercise. Write your founder story in 3 lines. Intent, obstacle, resolution. Don't worry about making it perfect. Just make it real. Because remember, people might scroll past a product, but they'll always stop for a story about a human who dared to build something. Right now, I'm holding a pen. And I could tell you, blue ink, smooth grip, 80 rupees. Or I could say, this is the pen I used to sign my first hire at Isband. It reminds me of the moment this dream became bigger than me. Same product, but the second version makes you feel. That is the power of a product story. Because features are forgettable, stories are sticky. Nobody remembers the GSM thread count, but everybody will remember the artisan who stayed up 14 nights to embroider it. Let's look at a few examples. Chumbak, not just quirky mugs. Their story, India's pop culture captured in objects you can hold. Isband, our jackets are not just wool and embroidery. They are stories of Kashmiri motifs passed down from grandmother to granddaughter. Here's a simple way to craft the product story. Feature, why it exists, and the human angle to it. For example, feature, hand embroidered scarf. Why it exists? Because machines can't replicate this detail. And the human angle, each piece takes 17 days, often done by women after finishing their household chores. Suddenly, your scarf isn't just another fabric. It's a sacrifice and survival stitched in wool. Let's do side by sides. Boring. Leather shoes, durable, 2500. Story. We spent 9 months with tanners in Kanpur who told us leather should age like good wine. These stories aren't just durable, they get better every year you wear them. Now this is boring. Gold necklace, 22,000. Story. When we crafted this necklace, we used the same traditional nakashi, a technique that's been passed down for 400 years in Srinagar's old city. See the difference? One is just a product. The other is culture, heritage, memory. So here's one from my own brand. This jacket could be listed as brown jacket, hand embroidery, 15,000 rupees. But the real story? The motifs you see here are inspired by almond blossom. Our artisans told me that they wait all year for the orchids to bloom. It's a reminder, no matter how harsh the winter, spring always comes. That hope is stitched into this jacket. That is what customers remember, and that is why they pay a premium. Okay, your turn. Pick one product you sell. Step 1, write down 3 features. Step 2, for each feature, ask, why does it matter? Who does it affect? Step 3, rewrite it as a short story with a human angle. Post it on Instagram. Watch how people react. I promise you will see more comments like this gave me goosebumps. Oh my god, it reminds me of my childhood. Remember, people don't buy your product. They buy the story of why it exists. And the better you tell that story, the more they will believe, remember, and buy. Last year, a woman DM'd us after buying an Isband heron. She wrote, wearing this reminded me of my grandmother who always sat in her heron sipping chai by the window. I felt a part of my childhood came back. Now, that's not just a review, that is a customer story. And stories like this do more for your brand than any ad spend. Now, why are customer stories so powerful? Because they are proof. And people trust people more than they trust you. Glossier grew because of selfies and reviews. Customers told the story, not the brand. Boat calls their customers boatheads. They post real lifestyle stories of their fans. So, people buy when they see themselves in your existing customers. Here's the formula for turning testimonials into stories. Before, what problem did they have? After, what did your product do for them? And transformation, how did it make them feel? For example, this is a boring review. This bag is nice and spacious. What if we turn it into a story? I was tired of totes that ripped when I carried my laptop. When I found this one, I could finally carry everything without worry. Notice how the second one shows the journey, not just the product. Now, let's do a few quick rewrites. Customer review is the cream works. Now, how do you turn it into a story? I tried 7 creams for my daughter's eczema. Nothing worked. After this one, her itching reduced in 3 days. Now, she finally sleeps peacefully at night. Number 2. Customer review. Good headphones. Story. I work night shifts. These headphones are the only thing that keep me awake at 3 a.m. with music blasting, and they haven't died on me once. Do you see? We are not just selling features, we are showing the real life impact. Here's one from Isband. A customer once wrote, your scarves are very soft. Okay, nice, but let's add story. I gifted this scarf to my mother. She told me it felt like the ones my grandfather used to bring her from downtown Srinagar in the 70s. For her, it wasn't just soft, it was a memory brought back to life. That is how you turn plain feedback into a powerful story. Now your turn. Step 1, open your customer reviews, DMs or WhatsApp chats. Step 2, pick one. And step 3 is rewrite it using the before-after transformation formula. And if you don't have reviews yet, ask 3 friends to try your product and send feedback. Then practice rewriting those into a story. Remember, your customers are your best storytellers. You don't need to invent credibility. You just have to amplify it. And one customer story can be worth hundreds of ads if you tell it right. Be honest, how many times have you posted a reel only to watch people scroll past in 2 seconds? It's not your story that is the problem, it is your hook. Because if your first line doesn't grab attention, your story never gets told. Today, I'll give you simple, repeatable hooks that'll stop the scroll every single time. Now think about how you scroll. You'll give a post 2 seconds or maybe less. That is why your hook, the first line of text or the first 3 seconds of your video decides if people would continue watching. Copywriting legend David Ogilvy said, when you have written your headline, you have spent 80 cents out of your dollar. And on social media, your hook is your headline. So here are 3 hook styles that you can steal today. Number 1, bold statement. Make people stop because it challenges what they believe. The examples could be, your product isn't overpriced, it's just forgettable. Another one, don't buy this jacket from us. Another one would be, if it doesn't have a logo, is it still luxury? Number 2 is a question hook. Curiosity is powerful. Examples are, what happens when you mix Kashmiri craft with streetwear? Or what if hotels were as cheap as air mattresses? Or ever wonder why your posts get likes but no sales? Number three is relatable pain. When you say out loud what your audience secretly feels. Examples are tired of launching drops that nobody buys, or sick of diets that fail every January, or we almost shut after losing 20 lakhs. Here's what saved us. These three alone will give you endless hooks. Let's try it with one product, say a handmade tote bag. A boring hook would say cotton tote bag, 999 rupees. A bold statement could be this tote has survived more exams than most college students. A question would be can one bag replace every other you own? And a relatable pain could be sick of totes that collapse under the weight of your books? See how these openers force you to keep reading or hooked? Here's your exercise. Pick one product. Write three different hooks for it. One bold, one question, one relatable pain. Then test them. Post one as a reel, one as a carousel, and one as caption. You'll immediately see which one makes your audience stop scrolling. Remember, a story untold is a sale missed. Your hook is the doorway, so make it impossible to ignore. Quick question. How many times have you thought, I have no idea what to post today? Here's the truth. You don't need more ideas. You just need to learn how to multiply the stories you already have. One good story can fuel 10 different posts. Let me show you how. Think of a story like an almond. You can eat it raw. You can make oil from it. You can turn it into milk or grind it into flour. Same almond, different formats. Your story works the same. Don't just tell it once. Break it down, remix it, and use it across different formats. Let's take one real example from this month. The story of a mother embroidering a heron while her daughter studies besides her. This is powerful, but instead of one emotional caption, let's stretch it. Here's how we repurpose it. Number one, a reel. Emotional voiceover. Show BTS footage of the artisan working. Add a voiceover narrating her story. Number two, carousel. 5 slides breaking it down. So slide 1 could be meet nude. Slide 2, she embroiders at night after her daughter sleeps. Slide 3, each motif takes 70 days and so on. Number 3, caption. A long form text post. The full narrative with a photo of the artisan. Number 4, story. Quick behind the scenes. Show a 15-second clip with text overlay, 17 nights of work for one parent. Number 5, email newsletter. The subject line is the story stitched into your winter wear. Tell the same story in 150 words with a CTA to shop. Same story, 5 posts already. And we're not done yet. We can remix the same story into 5 other formats. A quote graphic, a meme style post, funny but connected. A LinkedIn post. 9th, a podcast clip or a live video. Number 10, a Pinterest graphic. Now you have 10 touch points, all from one story. Let's do it with a simpler one. Suppose your story is, I started selling candles during lockdown because I needed a way to pay rent. A reel could be, film yourself pouring wax with a text overlay. A carousel, 5 mistakes I made while starting my candle brand. A caption, raw personal journey. Story, BTS of your messy kitchen. And an email, how a candle saved my rent. Now, this is how you multiply content without burning out. Remember, it is not about creating more stories. It is about getting the maximum mileage out of the stories that you already have. So, take one story this week and commit to turning it into 5 posts at least. You'll never say, I don't know what to post again. A lot of founders give up on Instagram. Not because they don't have stories to tell, but because they don't have a system to capture and organize them. The secret? A story bank. Your personal collection of content ideas that you will never run out of. A story bank is simply a document, Notion, Google Sheets, or even your Notes app, where you collect raw stories, hooks, and moments as they happen. Instead of waiting for inspiration, you build a system that is always full. Matthew Dicks in his book Storyworthy had this exercise, homework for life. Every day, he writes down one small story-worthy thing that happened. Over time, he built hundreds of stories just from daily life. That's the principle here. You don't need big events. Small moments is equal to endless content. Here's how I set up my story bank. 7 simple categories. Number 1, founder stories. Why you started, lessons learned. Number 2, product stories. How it's made, why it's different. Number 3, customer stories. Testimonials, DMs, word of mouth. Number 4, behind the scenes. Factory tours, workshop clips, mistakes, bloopers. Number 5, struggles. Failures, losses, doubts. Number 6, wins. Launches, milestones, proud moments. Number 7, culture and values. Kashmiri roots, artisan life, traditions, your brand philosophy. Each time something happens, just drop it in the right bucket. Let's do this live. Imagine I got an Instagram DM saying, "This parent reminded me of my grandmother." I'll open my story bank and put it under customer stories. Now, another one, we lost 20 lakhs but kept going. That goes under struggles. One more, we trained 3 new women artisans this week. Now, that goes under wins plus culture. Within 2 minutes, I have stored 3 ready to post stories. Your turn. Open a Google Sheet or Notion page right now. Make 7 columns with these categories. Just add 5 stories today. Don't overthink. Just write raw moments. By the end of a month, you will have 30 to 40 stories that you can turn into posts. Remember, the difference between founders who post once in a month and founders who build brands, it's not creativity, it's systems. Your story bank is your creative safety net. Start building it today and you'll never run out of stories again.